2, 3. What's good, everybody? It is your favorite MC slash favorite RT, A&AP, aka Flo Rogan, aka Scarlet Bro Handsome, and I'm here with my co-host Blaze and some terrible lighting. I'm still trying to work this out. People, bear with me. But the star of the show, I'm the co-star. Let me say that. I'm the guest star. The star of the show is the young lady that you're looking at or you're about to listen to, depending on what medium you're listening to this on, Miss A$AP Monny, from the member of A$AP Squad that you don't know about yet. She's coming out soon. AKA, she gets AKAs too. Monica Blanco, welcome to the Black and Red Cave.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. I love that intro. I was not expecting that intro.
Yeah, you know, you got to have your templates. Every time I do a show, I have different names. Depending on my guest too, I'll throw something extra in there that might not be appropriate, but you know, depends on what the vibe of the show is today.
I'm rolling with it. I'm going to learn a lot from you today, I think.
I feel like I'm going to learn a lot more from you. So first of all, before we even go on with this, what is your tolerance for curses? Because sometimes I have a potty mouth. I've gotten better, but
Oh, it's high.
Oh, sorry.
I need it. Also, I'm pretty sure, and this could be a made up statistic, that those who actually swear more are like more honest or something. I'm making that up. I'm
sure
making that up.
Somewhere you can find somebody that has already made that hypothesis and has proven it. So I support that because I curse a lot, you know. So let's get it out the way. Shit ass fuck balls. That's all. Got it out the way. So I'm going to attempt to put out your resume from what I've been able to dig up, but I'm going to let you kind of bring it home. So Miss A$AP Monny, besides being an underground rapper slash DJ slash breakdancer of the group, she's a content creator. She is a, do you say the letters individually or do you say NASM? NASM certified personal trainer?
Either one.
NASM certified personal trainer or NASM if you want to make it sound a little more elite. I saw you're part of something called Phil Excellence.
Correct. Yep.
Which I'm going to assume has something to do with Filipino and excellence.
Filipino excellence. Yep.
Boom. I'm not a rapper for no reason. Co-host of your own podcast called Only Fitness, which I think is a dope play on OnlyFans. Which I'm assuming that's how you got it from. And let me see. But I had to rehearse this. I actually heard your partner say this, but I thought it was a very dope term. Anti-fitness influencer.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I haven't heard that one in a minute, but I would identify myself as that for sure.
What does that mean? Let's focus on that for a minute. Because when you said that, I kind of identified I'm not a fitness influencer. I do work out a little bit, but not like you. But what does that mean?
I think there is this idea, or maybe I'm just perceiving it this way, of what a fitness influencer is. Maybe, what would you describe a fitness influencer as? Like, how would you describe a fitness influencer?
Personally?
Yep.
Honestly, a fitness influencer to me, sometimes I look at it like an influencer of other stuff. Like to me, an influencer is influenced by whoever is backing them. That's my opinion. So it's like an influencer that's that's promoting makeup that probably breaks her face out or his face out, but you know, they're getting paid for it. They're going to do whatever is needed to entertain you. You got to entertain for one and to draw in the audience. So to me, an influencer is kind of like a bad word, in my opinion. Some people, there's great ones out there. I'm not trying to put everybody under the umbrella, but fitness influencer is the person who's going to tell you to go to the gym, not telling you they're on steroids or anything like that, and go do a shoulder press with the fucking bench, you know, instead of the actual bench. They're doing it with the bench. Like that's to me a fitness influencer slash entertainer.
I think in the world of influencers and marketing in general, we as a collective get so, what's the right word? Hypnotized or maybe fixated on extremes of things. Yeah. And so in my mind, when I'm thinking of a fitness influencer, it's sometimes, and I don't want to put all fitness influencers under this umbrella. Sure. So it's a lot of influencers that are adopting the mindset of go hard or go home, you know, no pain, no gain. A lot of kind of diet culture focused behaviors. Maybe behaviors that are like more of hyper arousal, which is like nonstop, no breaks,
Right.
never miss a Monday,
Right.
which to some people, I think that can be very inspiring and can really allow them to feel encouraged to maybe prioritize their health. But to other people, I don't think it takes into account maybe how accessible that is,
Yeah.
whether they're lacking time, resources, what have you. So I think there's just a lot of ideas of what fitness should be
Hmm.
when it really doesn't have to be that complicated. And so when I say I'm an anti-fitness fitness influencer, it's
Yeah.
more of just like the opposite side where I'm kind of trying to see you from a biopsychosocial perspective. I want to understand what factors are influencing your ability to pursue wellness or
Right.
fitness
Right.
in a way that supports you and what you want in your life.
First of all, that was a dope term. Biopsychosocial. Is that what you said? I say
Yeah, yeah.
saying that 5 times in a row. That was pretty dope. And I get it. So you're what I gather from you is as your platform, you more want to get to the corny fitness analogy, like the amino acids of the actual muscle. Like you want to find what is making you want to do this, or what drives you to go into your fitness. And I think that's really important because some people, like, I got into fitness because I was always a super skinny dude. I never got like bullied, but I was always a super skinny kid. Super skinny kid. I'm not like I don't look like The Rock now, but trust me, it's a vast difference. It was that and the fact that I was getting older for me. Like I was in the gym, I was like 25 and 41 now. I was 25 and I was working out, and this older dude came to me and said, "Yo, get it in now because when you reach my age, it's going to take you a lot more work." And for me, that was
Mm.
my motivation. Where I have a friend of mine, he got into it because he was short and he was getting bullied. So he went the other.
Wow.
Uh
I
oh.
feel that 410 lady.
So did that kind of spark your love of the fitness? Was being short? No offense, is that a bad word? My girlfriend get
No,
hyped.
it's not. No, it's not. It's a fact. It's a
Yeah,
fact. How that's just what my body is.
yeah.
Um, I wouldn't say necessarily. When I think about it really hard, I'm like, I question myself. Like, am I compensating for my height? I don't
Interesting.
know. I don't think so. But sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Um,
I think that's perfect because I mean that's different people's motivations. Like my boy, he's like 5'4", 5'3", I want to say, and with my friends, we're all 6 feet and up, so he always felt kind of like the outlier, So yeah, imagine my girl, who I said my girl's 4'11", hanging out with us. Like I lose her, you know what I'm saying? Like where we all take pictures, it's like the top of her head and then the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? But
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Got to
yeah.
get really good at squats.
She's getting there. I should send her to you. Y'all can link up, and cause I'm trying to. She works out, but we all sometimes she has to push me. Sometimes I have to push her, and who better? I've already told her about you, and she said, "Oh, she sounds pretty dope." So I might have you another client. I don't know.
Okay, let me
Oh,
know.
we do business here. She's from
Hell
Wag.
yeah.
She's from Wag, Jersey. I'm gonna turn off half of my listeners, but she's from Jersey. Jersey's no good. All right. So
See, I don't know about Jersey. I don't know about any of the boroughs yet. I'm still learning.
how long have you been in New York?
About 9 months.
Oh wow. So yeah, you are really new.
Very new. Could have had a baby by now,
Definitely could have.
but
Definitely could have. So yeah, and I met you a few months ago at a Spotify event. So you were like super new. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I saw you outside when we were looking for the building, and I saw you because you looked lost. No offense, but I was also lost. You looked
I
like you was
was
looking for the
lost.
building. Yeah, so the same. So again, Brooklyn is a different world to me. I'm from the Bronx. You might as well be from California. You know what I'm saying? And I peeped that, but then we went up to the room, and all of us went to the boardroom that they had. Dope program, and they had us introduce our episodes. And pardon, I jump around. At times there's a streamline. Sometimes we just jump
No,
around.
I'm with you.
Dope. So you brought up something very dope, in my opinion. And everybody had their different podcast platforms, like the school podcast. I thought was dope. I've already had an interview with LNO, just about her energy and the spirit and how it is being a overweight woman trying to date and everything like that. And you said my brother and I were thinking of doing an episode about, I mean, a podcast about, I think you said generational trauma.
Yep.
And that rang a bell to me right away. What triggered that? What is that? Not to dig in too much into your past unless you're willing to share. It's up to you. But What triggered that
Oh
idea?
my gosh, I'm more than happy to share. As long as people ask questions, I'm always happy to
That's awesome.
answer them the best that I can with whatever I'm comfortable sharing, which is mostly everything,
Okay,
honestly.
good.
But
Thank you.
the past, I want to say 5 or so years, I think I can say now in hindsight, I've been on this journey of really understanding, I guess, how I got here. Why, at certain points in my life, have I felt very unfulfilled?
Mm,
Also, in that same vein, too, I didn't know, I didn't really have like a passion for anything,
yeah.
to be quite honest with you. I realized that everything that I was doing around me, all of the decisions that I had made for so long, even since I was a kid, were decisions that I was making out of shame, out of fear.
Mm,
And I didn't really make that connection until maybe a couple of years ago, 2020, 2021,
okay.
when actually you brought up Phil Excellence. That's my um, nonprofit, not my nonprofit, a nonprofit that we co founded. And I say we in reference to the board members of that 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay.
It was, just to give you a backstory about that, COVID happened. And for whatever reason, have you heard of the app Clubhouse?
Yeah. Yeah. I failed on
Were you
club.
ever on there?
Yeah, I got on there. I thought my voice would carry me to the moon. It didn't.
Well, now, hey, it's never too late. I think it's going to also,
No.
but
Thank you.
I think that dream is going to come true for you.
I love that me and
Um,
Blaze like that. If I can give you the bullhorn, I
yes,
would, but this soundboard doesn't work. So it's for
it's
sure.
okay. I'm imagining in my head.
There you go.
um, so I found myself on that app. One of my cousins actually like gave me an invitation. It was invite only,
Yep.
and basically, if you don't know what Clubhouse is, it was an audio app where you could create different groups about different topics. I
Hmm.
don't really know how else to explain it, but I found myself searching for Filipino rooms. That's just what I was feeling called
Just
to at the
naturally
time.
drawn to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly, I look back in hindsight, I'm like, I was really looking just for connection and for something, especially during COVID when we couldn't go out or, you know, do
Yeah.
that much at the time.
Yeah.
But this group formed because we were having a lot of these conversations around topics that would be considered taboo, especially within the Filipino community,
Hmm.
like mental health. And I always found myself in these rooms, my mind just like, what the heck? Like, just I'm making so many connections as
Yeah.
to why did I always feel like super drained after social situations? Oh, it was because I was adopting myself or adapting myself to the people around me.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of putting on like layers of protection. Also, I grew up in the Midwest, not a lot of diversity in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I also went to uh, Catholic schools for a majority of middle school to high school.
I went
So
to high
there's just
school.
a lot of layers of what's the right word? Really adapting to my environment.
Right. All of those
Um,
environments seem to be kind of like you said, not very diverse. I went to Catholic high school and it was very uniformed, and I was
yes.
all boys because my mother said I was acting up before that, so that was just even more uniform for me, and it was continue. Yeah, that was an interesting
Yeah.
experience. Shout out to Cardinal Hayes.
Yeah. I mean, what generational trauma is I might butcher this, but basically your epigenetics and like gene expression,
Hmm.
like every cell in your body that you have has like your genetic code. And you
Okay.
can, that can change depending on your environment and how you are kind of experiencing the world around you. And
Right.
so even if you like go back to, generations before you, let's say I am the daughter of immigrant parents. And
Hmm.
so just the mere fact of leaving your homeland and going to this new country, you're putting yourself through this experience that maybe you don't even realize is traumatic, because I think trauma has this kind of connotation to it that it has to be something like one single event that is like,
Yeah, right.
really
Yeah,
dramatic, I
like your
guess.
superhero moment or your
Yes,
supervillain moment. Yeah,
but it can really just be an accumulation or repeated experiences that, like microaggressions, for example,
yeah,
that can really change and alter, I mean, your DNA or your gene expression.
sure.
But that's kind of more in the weeds of everything. Going back to those like little clubhouse rooms of having these conversations, I think I was just having so many epiphany moments.
Hmm.
And I also kind of didn't realize that I wasn't really equipped to handle a lot of the information emotionally. Like,
Really? Wow, because it was it kind of like a because I've been in situations where when I find some other people that have the same kind of trauma or phobias, like I'm extreme, see, I'm extremely claustrophobic, and as a 6'2", 220 pound black guy, black man, that is like, oh, you a pussy, blah 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 blah. And it's like my size has nothing to do with. If anything, that works against me because now it's less room for me, you know. And then when
right.
I that's one good thing about the internet. As damaging as the internet can be, that's one good thing. I found so many other people that had that same kind of fear that I have, including there was a guy Gerald McCoy. He played for the like a future NFL Hall of Famer. He almost lost his contract because he was scared to get in the MRI machine. And I was like, this dude is bigger than
Wow.
everybody. And like reading some of the things that people go through, I can identify with how you felt because I'm like, yo, I was getting anxious reading some of this, but I also felt kind of better because I'm like, oh, I'm not the wild one.
Oh, that's so real. That's
Yeah.
so real. I think what I've learned too is there's a such thing as vicarious trauma. So,
Ooh, did you make that up?
no, I
Oh,
learned
yeah. I was
this
about to say you
in
better
my
put that on a
certification.
t-shirt.
Yeah, Google it, Google it.
You better
Um,
you better trademark that.
yeah, no, I mean, we're learning so many new things just every day, especially in
Yeah,
this field. It's really cool.
yeah.
But in my trauma informed certification class, so I'm also a trauma informed personal trainer, which is a whole other thing. It kind of everything that I learned up until this point really brought me to becoming a trauma informed personal trainer.
Mm,
Um, but basically, what I learned is I think so many of us, especially during COVID, when we were just watching the news, you're on social media,
mm,
you're seeing all of these devastating things happen, and we
mhm,
internalize that feeling. And that
mm.
is vicarious trauma if you're not able to
I
properly
see.
regulate or um, kind of process it and not
Yeah,
hold on to it, if that makes
absolutely.
sense.
No, it
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. I work healthcare, so I was in the shit. Like I was literally in the shit. So I had to compartmentalize a lot of things. And to be honest with you, like I never sorry, I worked last night, people, my voice is shot. But
You
I
sound
never
great.
thank you. Oh, see, I do like her. She's good people. I used to have to really first of all, like I said, let me say this to begin with. I work with children. I'm a pediatric respiratory therapist.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
love what I do. It's a great job. And when COVID hit, we got slammed. But I don't ever want to come here like I have the Superman cape on because the adult side got wiped out. So kudos to all of my people that worked in there, from pantry to your nurses to your RTs, the doctors too. But here's a little secret: the doctors generally were outside in the room in the hallway while we was in the room. Just saying.
You
But
were in it.
yeah, we was in it. They were like the generals from the office or whatever military works. I'm punk when it comes to that stuff too, and we were on the field, you know. And like you said, I saw how many people kind of just collapse under that. And for me, I think the fact that I was able to get out and go to work, even though I was going into to the storm, I had people that I can physically talk to and directly communicate with. I can't imagine what it was like having to be in a house, see this online. You're getting fed different information from everywhere, you know. And I had people tell me that they don't believe it's real when I just had two kids down me today. I'm like, all right, cool, you know. So
Wow.
how do you sit in a room and deal with that? I can't imagine what that was like for you. And shout out to you
Yeah.
for making it.
Shout out to you for real. Just so much respect. And I think, I hope that the work that you did comes back to you tenfold for sure. That's just a
Appreciate
lot.
that.
It's very respectable and honorable, really.
Life is
But
treating me well. I would say.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Like, overall, she
Good
didn't.
shit. Good shit. Um, well, that also goes back to like those clubhouse rooms
Mhm.
where we were almost, yes, addressing and bringing awareness to a lot of these issues outside of COVID. I mean, even within our own community, because everything, any change that you want, it should start at home.
Yeah,
That's, I
I like
mean,
that.
and I think personally, my issue was okay, I am absorbing all of this information, but I'm holding it within me and I'm not letting it, like, I'm not releasing it at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
So I'm holding these feelings of, wow, I feel so seen. I feel acknowledged for my experiences. There's a reason for all of this,
right.
but I'm not doing anything about it necessarily. I'm just complaining. And it was almost, for me personally, I think I felt like I was just like sitting in those emotions, and
Yeah.
a lot of these feelings were coming up to the surface, not being released, a lot of resentment. Uh,
Resentment towards who, if you don't mind me asking, or
I
to
would
what?
say honestly towards my family. Like I really
No.
resented my family because I also didn't have compassion for them or myself. So I almost put myself in kind of the victim
Uh,
mentality.
that's a tough place to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
comforting at first. It's comforting at first, but then it's not a good place to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think I had to really face myself and really address the trauma that I was holding within
Mhm.
myself. And if it weren't for, those rooms and those conversations, then I wouldn't have recognized it. I think I just wasn't equipped with the right tools to really address them properly
Yeah.
until later when they were just festering and I was just feeling stagnant in life and I didn't know
Hmm.
what I was doing.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think we are so privileged today to have one, the tools to be able to cope
Yeah.
properly, um, and resources that can also help online, social media.
Yeah. It's incredible how you just mentioned this, and this is one thing I've tried to do better at in my personal life. You found that kind of peace in that community and people that you don't even know. It was just y'all had the same kind of something was the common thread. There may be little differences, but something was the same. And it's weird for me. I found that I have done the same. Whereas I have a very close knit friends group. And every now and then, like my friend Kush, I'll dump all my problems on. But like my boys, my best friends, one of them just passed, rest in peace, bro. I don't open up to them as much. And I always wondered why that is. And I generally find myself an open person. If you listen to any other episode, I'm extremely open. My music is my therapy. So I'll tell you about the time I was with the girl I liked and my stuff didn't work. It happens. Like I don't mind going around those things. But there is a piece in finding that common struggle with strangers because they're not going to be able to judge me. And if they can, I don't know you anyway. Who cares?
Yes. Yeah. It's
So,
interesting.
mhm,
Like, I think people dog on social media and people almost develop this, oh, social media is toxic. It can be
mhm.
toxic for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, sure
But I
can.
think it can also be a really great place when you personally are in a good place to discern what's for you and what's
Yes.
not,
Yeah.
instead of like using social media to feed something that's negative within you.
Mhm,
If you're open to like those connections online and
mhm.
even open to bring them offline too, right?
Yeah,
It can be such a powerful tool because so much of what we're looking for in general, it's just human nature to want to connect.
it really is. And that's why I think 2020 was so hard on so many people, because obviously I think it's the fact that you couldn't connect with other people. And the other side, as you mentioned this earlier, you kind of had to look at yourself and be like, all right, this is something that I have to fix in myself. And what you mentioned there was something I can identify with. I went through a thing at a point in time where I had such anger at women. Not, I say this all the time, not as humans. I don't want you to wipe off the earth, but as dating, I was like, yo, they're fucking crazy. None of this makes sense. And I had such anger towards y'all. And then I stumbled on a certain content and it kind of put me in an echo chamber, like the Kevin Samuels content, all of these things. And I love Kevin Samuels personally, but I don't know if you know who that is. But The
I
echo
don't.
camera. Oh, just Google them. Oh, you want to see some toxicity? Out of that. Oh, just read the comments. But not so much now. I think his message kind of got through a little bit, somewhat. But oh, whatever, right? But he used to talk about things that women did, and what the things that they wanted, and how it was whatever. Just check it out. He caught a lot of heat, and I listened to it, and because I was so angry and I was hurt, I kind of weaponized that stuff, and I wasn't really gaining from it positively. It just gave me more ammunition, it gave me more bullets in the clip. And I probably took that out on some people, and I don't ever think I was an asshole to anybody, but I'm sure I took it out on some people. But once I healed more, now I really started learning from these guys, and I see the way it helped me and improved me. And it seems like you kind of
Yes.
had that same story. I would have never had that without the internet.
That's why this is going to be a tangent a little bit. I
Let's
think
go. Tangent
there
time.
are, yeah, there are a lot of, I guess you would call them influencers. Let's say like Joe Rogan or
Low Rogan,
who's the
baby.
other one? Jordan Peterson.
Peterson, yeah. Yeah.
That I think, man, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm going to say it because it's what
So
I believe.
this is our show, man. We don't
I
shoot
think
bullies now.
I think they have a platform for a reason, and
Hmm.
maybe I am not their audience. So who am
Sure.
I to judge them for putting themselves out there? I think a lot of what
Mm.
people do in general when they put stuff out there is because they're curious. And so who am
Interesting.
I to judge? I mean, I guess that's only surface level. I
Hmm.
think if I were to listen to some of those conversations, I'm sure I would
Right.
disagree with a lot. Like I'm
Right.
sure there are some topics and conversations they have that are probably toxic or not
Hmm.
helpful,
Hmm.
but I commend them. I commend anyone that is brave enough to put themselves out there.
Yeah, it's not easy. I've lost quote unquote friends over things that I've said, and I don't say anything to hurt anybody. It's never my intention. But I'm also honest. If 2 + 2 is 4, I don't care if you think it's 5. Like it's not 5. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like Jordan Peterson. He gets a lot of another one. He gets a lot of heat, and I listen to him like a lot of his stuff. I try to stay away from listening to clips. So actually, Jordan Peterson and Kevin Samuels is kind of like the same, not the same message, but kind of like they overlap a little bit, but
Sure.
they kind of get the same reaction.
Yeah. I think
And
it
yeah,
questions too. I think people bring up a lot like intention versus impact.
mm,
What's more important? Because
hmm.
but I don't know why it has to be either or.
What do you mean?
Like it's hard to know someone's true intentions, I think. But if you see like the impact of what someone says,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just something that I thought about a lot because I can have the truest intentions and I can want to help people a lot. But if
Yeah,
what I do has a negative impact in general,
yeah.
it's something to, I guess, reflect on.
That's a whole like difficult, almost like philosophical question because I may say something to you today, or you may say something to me today. I get accused of this a lot, and sometimes I think I need to tone it down. But I grew up where this is this, this is this.
Hmm.
I may say something to you today, like, oh, that black bag you got hanging up. She has a black bag hanging up. If you guys are just listening to this, maybe you should put a red one up there just for the way it looks on. I'm not saying this is the thing. I'm just
Yeah,
using it
yeah,
as,
yeah.
as an example. I think it'll look better in your studio on your camera. And that might hurt your feelings. And now, obviously, I don't think that would really hurt your feelings. I don't know. It might, but like I say that with the most genuine intent. But it may really hurt your feelings, and later on, you might be like, "Oh, I get it now. I'm glad he said that to me."
Mm,
I think that happens a lot. But then some people hear it and then they shut down completely, and then the message is missed. So like I get that a lot, where it's like your perception didn't match with my intention. Like what I
mm,
was trying to tell you was not to shit on you, but if you keep doing this and I don't know everything, honestly, I'm wrong all the time. But like if you keep doing this, and I'm telling you, if me softballing it to you is not working, so I'm going to tell you straight up, it may hurt you. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of these guys, some people aren't mature enough. I don't want to say, yeah, actually, no, I will say some people aren't mature enough to get their message if they're listening to the full message. Some people listening to 10%.
yep.
I could take something you said here, make a clip of it, and turn you into the worst person in the world. You know, so
I
that's
hear
the
you.
bad part of it.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I actually, there's a quote. I'm a big words quotes girly, but
me too.
um, it's it was a reflection question. Are you listening with your triggers or are you listening
Ooh,
with your ears? It's like there's
I
a
like
difference
that one.
between listening to something and hearing something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I agree
That's
with you,
awesome.
actually. Like, I think there are
Right.
people, and I don't want to sound like I'm like coming off as also judgmental, but I think there are a lot
Mhm.
of people, and I was one of them too. Sometimes it depends on
Mhm.
what emotional state I'm in and if I feel like
Sure.
I'm, again, equipped to handle
Yeah.
certain things. But that they look for something to either kind of be pressed about, or yeah, they're just not in a state where they're able to just take something and not
Yeah.
do you know what I'm trying to say? I can't find the
Absorb
words.
absorb the actual message that's being sent. I love that. You're listening with your what you said you're listening with your triggers.
Hmm.
That's awesome. That's like 'cause I can say one, two, three, four. And when I get to five, for whatever reason, five is your trigger. One, two, three, four means nothing to you. You're gonna stick with five and you're gonna run with that.
Yeah,
And then that leads to nowhere, which is bad for growing because we can't communicate that way.
exactly. So I hear you. And that's, I think I said all of that stuff earlier, not to defend,
Hmm.
this person or that person. I just think
Hmm.
we as human beings need to kind of recognize, I think, why there is such, I mean, a divide in general, but also,
Yeah.
yeah, we're kind of just struggling to hear each other, see each other, and accept
Hmm.
each other for, who we are and where we're
Hmm.
at.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's profitable as well. Like,
Oh,
there's a
that's
reason
true.
why I never personally got into like the men versus women thing that's super prevalent. My algorithm is loaded with that because again, 2, 3 years ago, I was very angry, so my algorithm is still on that, and sometimes I still listen. But I can see if I wasn't as matured now, oh man, I would have hated women. I'm not gonna lie to you. Again, not as people, but in terms of dating. And it took, but at the same time, that anger and that pain built me, and the support of what I was listening to really kind of helped me because I was at some point able to shift that into a positive. Um, when you were in these groups, did you have a moment where it became so overwhelming for you that you wanted to stop? Were there things certain people were saying that you was like, they don't know what the fuck they talking about? Damn, if I use that for a promo, I have to edit that out. But like, were there people there that that they're like they don't know what the hell they talking about, but they think they? Because one thing, I'm sorry, I'm rambling a
No,
little
go
bit, but
ahead.
one thing I hated about Clubhouse personally, why I didn't totally get into it,
I already feel like I
it was
know what you're
almost
going to
like,
say.
let me
People
see,
just
yeah,
like to
what
hear
do you think?
themselves talk.
Yes, they
Hmm.
don't know what the fuck they talking about,
Yeah.
and it's like, what makes you qualified? And I remember I was on there one day and this guy was going on for 30 minutes. Nobody shut him up, shut him down. I was like, why is he still up here? I don't know what he was talking about, but he didn't know what he was talking about either. So did you ever have that reaction with any of your interactions on this Clubhouse platform? I think you did because you just kind of tipped your hand there,
Yeah, I
maybe.
know. I know that. I know I know exactly what you're talking about. I think honestly, I did notice myself using it more as an escape. Like, I would just
Hmm.
listen to people talk so I wouldn't have to listen to my own thoughts.
Ooh, that's interesting. So you were running.
I was
It was
running.
like a,
I have been running up until, I would even say, like, this past year. Um
okay. So,
yeah, escaping, finding other ways
so
to
let's go to the
escape.
root of that because you mentioned the family part. Is it because, like I said, my girlfriend's Filipino,
Mhm.
and I see some of the things. That's how it's one of the first things I said to you, and I see kind of the, I don't want to say fucked up things, but maybe it is kind of messed up.
Yeah,
Some of the things that she has dealt with and the way she reacts to certain things, and that came from her family. So, do you think it's just your personal family? Is this is we're sticking with you? I mean, I'm sure we can go through all other cultures, but do you
totally.
think this is just like a Filipino parents born in the Philippines kind of thing, or
There's so
and can you
much.
give me
Yeah.
examples of what you mean if you don't
Yeah.
mind?
Wait, sorry. Can you repeat that?
Sorry, and can you give me examples of like some of the things that you have kind of taken on as the trauma? What I think is, I saw adverse childhood events is one is a term that I saw.
Yeah, like
You know,
adverse childhood experiences.
ACEs. Yeah.
Yep. That's one way to measure, just like, I don't even know what to call it. I'm not a mental health professional, also. Just going to put that out there.
Most of the people online aren't
Yeah.
either.
Wow,
It's
that's
so good.
facts.
It's so
I
good.
have a very limited knowledge of these topics. I mean, but I know what I know
Mhm.
and I'll share what I know.
Yeah, you
Um,
know what you experienced.
yeah, exactly. I think more of what I experienced, I let me pause for a second and think.
As we hear the sounds of New York in the background, people, I love it. I love it.
Music.
I it's like white noise to me at this point. But
I'm so
if
used
it's
to it
too quiet,
now.
I get nervous. Yeah, if it gets too quiet, I get scared. To be honest with you.
I'm trying to think of because there's so much I think within Filipino culture in general, but I mean, I keep saying Filipino culture when I know there are common traits in other cultures too. But again, just speaking
Yeah.
from my experiences, a lot of behaviors learned from having like a colonial mentality can
Mm.
show up in ways, in different ways. Whether that's like, parents being old school or disciplining you, uh, like by being spanked, or we call that like palo.
Yeah.
Um, And then there's like the general stereotype, Asian stereotype too, of like just doing super well in school, the
Yeah.
known path of becoming a doctor, lawyer, engineer, nurse. There's just those pressures because they sacrifice so much for you in
Yeah.
being
That's true.
here. So you
That's
kind of
true.
feel like you're indebted to them. We call that utang, like you're indebted to them and you
Yeah.
owe them, some either whether that's money or
Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
and so I think internalizing that pressure and wanting to be successful in every single thing that I did, that's like perfectionism, but
Which is
having your worth
impossible.
be predicated on that can inform a lot of the choices and decisions you make, which is why I mentioned
Hmm.
earlier so much of what I did was out of shame and fear and survival. And so when I
So,
don't,
yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, I'm listening. I'm listening.
And so I think having that mentality and also growing up in a space where I was different already, like being the only Filipina or Asian girl in my
Yeah.
classes, kind of wanting to really blend in
Right,
just
right.
to feel belonging or to make
Yeah.
friends, even because, again, like we said before, we just want a sense of community and connection.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Of
there's
course.
just so
I
many
don't see
layers.
Michigan as a hotbed for Asian immigrants.
Pardon?
Or am I wrong? I don't find Grand Rapids, Michigan to be a hotbed of Asian activity.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not what I imagine, at least.
I think from in the community that I was in specifically, definitely not. There are definitely other
Hmm.
parts of Grand Rapids or
Hmm.
Michigan that were probably a lot more diverse than what I had experienced. But I
Hmm.
used to look back on my, you know, childhood and resent it, like I mentioned. But I think at least today I can say like that's probably why I'm here to also.
It puts some scars on you that strengthen the skin. You're not as thick skin now, and you're getting to where you need to go. And you mentioned one thing. Um, you said you felt the pressure. Do you think that pressure was put on by your parents, or do you think you just absorbed the energy of that pressure? My friends are African, and their parents are not much different. You know, doctor, lawyer, engineer. You want to be a rapper, forget about it. Oh, you want to own a business selling socks? Not happening. You
Yeah,
better get your, STEM. So, do you think it was imposed on you? Do you think you just kind of absorbed it, or maybe a combination of both?
I think both, a little bit of both.
Mm.
Like, what I'm sure there are other kids that do this too, but I think back in hindsight, like, I was already, I mean, only 5 years old or 6 years old saying, I'm going to be a doctor. It's in my DNA, it's in my blood, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, that is like some indoctrination stuff
Yeah.
right
And
there.
so I literally had these like blinders on, like my
Hmm.
entire kind of schooling that I was going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And
At
so,
5.
yeah, up until
Mm.
I think it was like my sophomore year at Hope College, I was like, oh, these weed out classes are weed out classes for a
Oh, I got
reason.
weeded out fast.
Shit.
I was pre-med for 36 minutes. Said,
Yeah.
nope, this ain't
Hell
it.
no.
I'd still be in school probably. Shit. Like, mm-mm.
Yep. And I think what I internalized too, wow, I couldn't do it. I'm not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and so then I would find ways to like escape that feeling of feeling
Mm-hmm.
unworthy, whether that was through people, alcohol, drugs, whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
just escape all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Not really having the
Wow, so you went through
communication with
that.
my parents either. Like, this is how I was feeling.
So did you feel like you couldn't talk to them at all? Hey, did you ever try? I should ask you. Better yet than not, have you ever? Did you feel like you couldn't? Have you ever tried to talk to them about how you felt about things?
I think
Even now.
yeah, I think I did try before. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to communicate properly, and they also didn't know how to, I think, receive it
Mm.
properly too, because of the gap in communication, especially my mom, her feeling like she did something wrong as a parent, like, oh, it's my fault.
Oh man, that's a lot to carry.
So, yeah, there it would always end up in like bickering, arguments, fighting
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when I, in hindsight, now realize like, oh, we are really just trying to express how much we love each other and understand each, but we
No,
couldn't find that common
no.
ground. So I had to drag my mom to therapy with me one
Ooh,
day.
she went though. Kudos to going to therapy. So kudos to that. I am pro therapy.
Yeah.
I always wonder when it comes to parents like that too. Your parents were not born here. Is that safe to assume?
Yep. Hmm.
Okay. And you were born here, or you spent most of your life here, right?
Well, I was born here. Yep.
Okay. So were your grandparents the same way? Because I'm always curious, like, because every story has an origin. You know, like I look at like how anxious my mom was, and then I dig a little deeper and I see what happened before her, and then what happened before her. So there's like a chain. I don't think people wake up one day and be like, I'm just going to completely put all this weight on my daughter or my son, and I'm going to shut them down. Like, do you think that it was something that was passed down? And I asked that because in that would make me wonder, well, is this really just a cultural thing, period? Because they didn't come over here like they raised your parents over there. So is this something that your parents maybe learned when they got here, or is it something that they were kind of conditioned while they were at home growing up as children in the Philippines?
I think both again. Like I do think
Yeah.
there were a lot of learned behaviors from one, their environment, and two, also how they were brought up. I guess that's the same
Mm.
thing. But my
No,
mom,
no, it makes sense.
yeah, my mom has
Okay.
opened up about just some of her childhood or experiences too with her
Yeah, yeah.
siblings. And there was a lot of just protection of the family name. And I think I
Yeah,
ended
that's
up
the thing I
also
heard.
internalizing that too.
Yeah.
So again, it's just shame, so much shame based decision making and not really addressing the root of the issue or not really being able to recognize that we're not dealing with these things properly. And we wonder why so much in general people are suffering with these chronic conditions from toxic stress like diabetes and heart
Mhm.
conditions and stuff like that just because they
Mhm.
present physically because we hold it
Mhm.
emotionally wild.
Right. So how do you translate this into your kind of therapeutic efforts with working out? Like, do you? I'm assuming you kind of combine it because you did say you are. I wrote it down because, like I said, I have a lot to write. Oh, damn it! What did you say? It was a
Trauma
trauma
informed
informed
personal
fitness
training. Yep. Yeah.
personal trainer. What does that mean? If you don't mind me asking, how do you apply
It takes
fitness to trauma?
more of an embodied approach to movement. So when we think about traditional personal training, it's kind of more of outcome focused. So, these are the results
Yeah.
that I want. I want to lose X amount of weight. And we have a clear kind of regimen or, yeah, rigid schedule to achieve
Yeah.
that outcome. Whereas trauma informed personal training is more of the process.
Hmm.
It takes more of the biopsychosocial influences into account.
All right. We got two of those now.
Yep.
You got to say it three more times before that. Podcast is over.
Yes. And something that I learned from Emily Young, who did my certification, she says if you're working with bodies, you're working with trauma, you're working with the nervous system. Because when
Hmm.
we think of trauma, trauma is not the like event itself of something that happens, it's how your brain responds to that event or repeated events, no matter
Right, right.
how big or small those events are. And
Hmm.
so when someone maybe is operating from that place of trauma, you never know what kind of triggers that they might have, whether that's being in the gym and someone's like slamming weights. Uh
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
it's social anxiety, like some it's just too overwhelming. So it's kind of meeting that person
Mhm.
where they are and giving them tools to help ground themselves, to help
Yeah.
be in more of like a regulated state to where they can really listen to their body. Because also when you're in kind of like a fight, flight, freeze, or a fawn, um,
Yeah.
you're not really grounded and you can make a lot of decisions that
Oh yeah.
maybe are not conducive to
Oh yeah.
listening to your body.
Yeah. As a claustrophobic, trust me, I get it. Once the sympathetic system is on point, it is over. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing else. The most logical decision is not going to happen at that point, and it can impede the progress. And listening to you, I have a person that's very close to me, very, very close to me. And excuse me, edit that out. I have a person that's very, very close to me, and for years I've been trying to get him to come to the gym with me. And he's a little overweight, grew up in a household where his dad, tough guy. Dad was one of the toughest dudes I've ever met, right? And so he kind of had to. I feel this is me painting his story. Felt like he had to kind of live up to that to an extent, and he became overweight. And I used to always still he has the frame, but I used to always tell him, "Yo, let's call him Byron. I don't know nobody named Byron, but Byron, right? Byron, let's go. Byron, come to the gym with me. Come to the gym with me. Come to the gym with me." And it was always I need to get in shape first, and that didn't make sense to
Mm-hmm.
me. And then I'm realizing he doesn't want to go to the gym and be looked at by people because he's a little overweight. And I'm like, but that's the point of it. But for years, it's almost a decade now, I haven't gone to the gym with him one time. And I ask all the time. I've stopped asking recently. And that seems like there's some trauma there that he just, in my opinion, I could be wrong. This is your field. That
You're right.
there's something he doesn't want to face in there.
No, you're right.
And he continues to get bigger.
It's I think that's another conversation about how we treat people in marginalized bodies. And
Mm,
so they are not feeling safe to enter this space where
yeah.
there's all of these people kind of like moving their body. But again, I think it's also the connotation or idea of what a gym body is
Right.
and not
Right.
feeling accepted or welcome in any space makes it so
Right.
hard to show up in that space.
Right. Right. And I think that's what he's going through because he'll go in and be like, he thinks everybody's looking at him. And I felt like that was the whole business model of Planet Fitness for a while. And I fell into it. I remember I said I was super skinny. And I never forget. I'll put a picture of me when I was a kid in the editing, but not a kid, like in my 20s. And I remember working out and I'm there, I'm lifting my curling my little 15s or whatever I'm curling, struggling, but I'm trying. And there's these guys over by the bar and they were laughing at me, right? And I felt the way about that. But then I looked at them, and again, I'm sorry, no offense, this isn't a short joke. But then I looked at them and I saw they had to jump to grab the pull up bar. And I said to them, and I could have got my ass whooped that day. And I said to them, I can look, because they was big dudes. I was like, I can end up looking like you, but I'll never have to jump to grab a bar. You'll always have to jump to grab a bar. And maybe I made them feel bad that day, but I walked off in slow motion. I had the Wu-Tang music
You
in
ain't
my head,
wrong.
like walking off. Yeah, I felt good, but it's like I see why maybe some people may feel that way. Because for me, I was on a mission. I knew you'll never be where I'm at. At least not naturally. I don't think they figured the whole stretching your height out thing. But I can see how it could be very intimidating, especially when you got the girls in there with all the ass out.
Mm-hmm.
and you have a girl that may not look the same way and she feels kind of, do you run into that a lot in your practice?
Yeah. Oh, all the time. All the time.
Mm-hmm.
What's even sadder is in 2021, when I
Mm-hmm.
was really on TikTok and like kind of putting out my kind of messaging and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I would get messages from girls that were 7, 9, 11, 13.
No
Yes. Yeah.
way.
Asking, how do I
Yeah.
get a slim, thick body? How do I get a fat
No,
ass and a big
not
dump
at
truck?
7.
Yeah. It too young, way too young. I mean, actually, there's no age for that. Like, I think,
Yeah.
of
No, I
course,
get you.
but
Like, I get what you're
you know what
saying.
I'm saying? It's
But
just really,
7 is really not equipped
really
for that. That's a
upsetting.
lot.
Which
Yeah.
made me like kind of stop and think, what messaging am I putting
Man.
out? What is my role here if I already have a
Mm-hmm.
platform? And I do
Mm-hmm.
talk about a lot of those kind of topics of how much more representation there needs to be in the fitness industry from marginalized bodies, from BIPOC creators and
BIPOC?
trainers,
What's that?
Black, Indigenous, people of color, whoever.
Oh, wow. So I learned something new.
Yeah.
BIPOC. I like that. Sounds like a dope group from the 90s.
I mean, I think that's the term. That's what people use.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever the inclusive um,
Sure, sure.
way is. But yeah, the more you see someone that looks like you, the more safe, I guess, you do feel in any
Yeah.
space, which is what I was
Yeah. I
lacking when
mean,
I was younger. So it kind of, I have
right.
to think about that whenever I am, I don't know, working around these topics.
So let me ask you this. What do you think kind of built up your confidence at whatever level it is? I'm going to assume it's a little bit higher than what it was when you were 15 or whatever. I'm completely made that number up, but like when you were 15, maybe a little bit higher. What do you think is the cause of that? Was it just the rooms? Was it you finally getting positive feedback from your platforms? And I don't mean this offensively, and I'm also not trying to get in trouble, but you're an attractive woman, and I'm sure that may help boost your ego a bit, but that may also not help your ego a little bit. Like, what was the way that this worked out for you? How did this get you to where you are? Because it is not easy putting yourself out on the internet with your opinions, with your body, with your train of thought. Because people are very vicious. These people are
Oh
very
my
mean.
God, people are
Mm-hmm.
ruthless on the
Mm-hmm.
internet.
Oh yeah,
I
meet them in person. It's fun as fuck.
I know. I'm really trying to find that answer for myself too, because even in the past, there were a lot of identities and things that I adopted as myself. But
Mm-hmm.
I think as I kind of took off each metaphorical layer that I kind of built, I became more and more
Yeah,
confident because I was like, I'm closer and closer to myself. And
yeah,
the one that really, really impacted me the most, or the thing that impacted me the most, is putting the work into repairing my relationship with my mom. Like
mm.
100%.
It seems very central to your story.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
Yeah.
another quote the other day that was like first your first child is your inner child or something, and I was like, "What?
Okay.
Is that true?" I don't know. But I think working on healthy communication and boundaries with my mom
Mm-hmm.
has changed a lot. I was home last or 2 weeks ago, and she just kept repeating to me, "You know who you are,"
Wow.
which I night and day, our
Wow.
relationship, really. Like, this has been
Right.
over 6 years of kind of really slow,
Yeah,
slow
yeah,
efforts over time. And I think we can finally both say that it has changed so much for the better. And like these cycles that we're trying to break, we're
yeah,
breaking
yeah.
them.
I think this is awesome because I'm listening to you, and then, like I said, I'm comparing this to my friends who have things where their parents are just shut down. They're not trying to hear anything, and all that does is raise the anxiety and raise the antagonistic relationship, and it gets nowhere but bad.
Yeah.
And I want to commend your mom and you for kind of putting in that working because she had to put some stuff down
Oh
too to
my
get to this
God. She's
level.
been
And
working hard.
Shout out to your mom. Again, if I had the thing, I'll do it. Right?
We're
If I
doing
had
it
the
right now.
cheers.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll put in a post edit. And, I wanted to bring you on because I'm hoping, like I said, I know a lot of people that grew up in certain cultures. Like my mother was hard on me, but then my mother got really sick at a certain point in life. So she kind of fell back. And luckily I still had a good structure in my family.
Hmm.
But um I never felt super pressured to do X, Y, and Z. I probably could have used a little bit more because by nature I'm lazy. Unless it's something I really want, I'm just whatever. Um,
I feel that though.
but yeah, whatever, it'll get done. But I think you taking this work, I think will kind of change what's your next. I don't know if you want kids or not, but if you have children or even just young
Oh,
people
I
that you
want
interact with,
kids. I'm not ready for
there you
them,
go.
but I'm ready for them when it
Yeah.
happens.
I still don't know. I ain't got no kids yet, man. I got a
That's
cat,
cool.
and I'm like, hey, he's here. He's getting on my nerves lately, but he a lot of information. He keep peeing next to the damn litter box, and he's really getting me mad because ain't nothing like the smell of pee walking in the house.
Oh no.
Um, his name is Mr. Rodriguez. That's my boy, but he's pain in the ass right now. But like, I feel you on that. 'Cause I've wanted children. I've wanted children for so long, but then there's times I'm like, I think I'd be a great dad. Like, I didn't grow up with my father directly. Another black story, but but I had a lot of father figures, and my dad's still alive, and we're trying to. If I'm going to be honest with you, you've kind of pushed me, not to be corny or anything like that, to push me to try
Not
and
corny.
continue to build with my dad because we have certain things disconnect. Like my father's a very bad alcoholic, and it has destroyed his life. Stroke, he can barely talk. My dad is 6'4", 140 pounds. About that, and I have a lot of anger that I need to work out with him that I may have pulled on and don't even know it.
Mm.
Shit, I like to drink. Not like him, but
Yeah.
I like my whiskey, tequila now. Though as I'm getting older, I'm starting to like tequila.
I like tequila. I like a spicy
Yeah,
marg. But I
I just had that for the
thank you
first
for
time in
sharing
Texas.
that
Yeah,
also.
yeah, sure.
Um I think I'm lucky, but it is also a lot of work and energy.
Hmm.
So I think when it came to my personal goals, I don't know, it's almost like it shouldn't have to be a prerequisite for me to kind of
Hmm.
pursue this path that I'm on, but it for some reason it was, and I think it happened for, for a reason.
Right.
Um but it was like I make it sound so easy, but it really was not. It was not at all.
Well, you can say that because you've been through it, so you can make it sound easy, right? The best teacher is the one that can break a complex situation down easy. And I think whatever your journey has been has brought you here. Like you have a nice little energy about you, and you're using your powers for good.
I'm
You got a
trying.
nice little platform. I'm trying to study, but I see you post a lot. I can't figure it out. I can't do it. Like I've been stuck on like whatever number I'm at for like 6 months, and kind of beating my head against the wall. But it's okay.
Let me
I'm
know
doing
how
this
I
for fun.
can support you though. I love this stuff. Like I love to be a
Mhm.
sounding board and to give and offer kind of my
Yeah.
advice.
No, I'm gonna funnel people to you. I do have a following. I will say I've been blessed to more than 3 people. Like I'm a little happy with that. So kudos to you guys. But now I want to ask you. I want to transition a little bit because this is a little heavy.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, what is the message that you're trying to get out? Like, what do you want ASAP Money to represent, or is it ASAP Money?
ASAP Money. A lot of people say
ASAP
Moni,
Money, and
but
it
it's
sounds like
Money.
Money. Money, on the double end, it should say Mahdi. That makes more sense phonetically. But what is the message and what is the image of ASAP Money, Miss Monica Blanco? What are you about? What do you want? What do you want to leave my listeners with and your followers, who I'm sure are very dedicated to you, devoted? That's the word I wanted to say. That sounds a little dramatic, but whatever. Lack of a better word, you get what I'm
Life
trying to
is
say.
dramatic sometimes,
There
but
you go.
I think at the end of the day, honestly, my, I guess, mission or calling, I feel super connected with right now, because it could
Much better
change,
word.
is
Yeah, sure.
for people to understand what it truly means to feel safe in your
Mm-hmm.
body, to feel safe in your environment, physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, what does that mean? Really define what being safe means to you, and
Mm-hmm.
think about how that impacts any of your decisions, what you pursue in life. and how that might affect how someone else moves through life, because truly at the end of the day, if you don't feel safe, you're not going to really express yourself in the way that you feel kind of called to.
Right.
And whatever that
Yeah.
means, if that's like healing your relationship with a friend, family member, yourself,
Right.
that's
Ooh,
it.
the yourself part is hard.
Yeah.
The yourself part is hard. Thank you for that because I put myself into the music. I write. You know, that's my therapy. Gym is a little bit therapy, but I realize if I'm really down or angry, gym doesn't work for me. You know, it's just I want to get the fuck out of here. You know, and kind of like you alluded to something earlier, and it's funny because off camera just now, I just said if we can wrap this up, but now you're good at this. You got me open enough to things like that. You mentioned earlier, you know, like your escapes was alcohol and blah blah blah, and I certainly dipped into that shit like a little bit too much, Ambien and even sex. I was
Mm.
wilding, you know. Luckily, I've never caught anything, thank God. But like, I was trying to find that peace in whatever it was that I was hurt with. You know, like my mom died I was 26 when my mother died. Like, was there something there? We had a good relationship, but was there something there that I didn't get
Mhm.
that I was looking for when me and my girl broke up? And now I just want to run out there and clean the city up, you know, like, but I think growing and going through that, just like what you went through, has gotten me to where I'm at such a better place now. I even grew a beard. I didn't have a beard till I was 39. Like, and I'm not even lying to you. Like, I still got my hairline, but it doesn't photograph well. I'm just saying. Reverse cameras are deadly to foreheads, ladies and gentlemen. But now I want to thank you for that perspective because it's very thought provoking, and you know, go get therapy, pro therapy. My boy Breakthrough Solutions. He's a great therapist based out of South Carolina. You know, I got to plug my
Yeah,
friends.
of
You know,
course.
pro therapy. Miss Monica Blanco. So let's transition to something a little bit better.
All
As
right.
a trainer, not even as a trainer, as a person that's in the gym, I want you to list. I'm gonna put you on the spot, rapid fire.
Okay.
I want you to tell me your three biggest annoyances as a member of the gym.
My annoyances in the gym. Okay. When people don't put their weights back.
Oh
Re-rack your
God, I'm
weights,
guilty of that.
please.
I'm a little guilty of that. I'm a little guilty of that.
When a spot or machine bench is sweaty
Hmm.
because someone didn't wipe it up after. Wipe
That's
your
actually
shit.
disgusting.
Wipe what the heck? It
Yeah,
takes like 30 seconds.
that's actually very nasty. Some people sweat unbelievable amounts. They don't even need a sauna, and it's just, bro, you only did a fly with tens. Well, how you sweating like that?
Yeah. And then what is another one? When I can't really think. I think when people are I think can I oh my god. When people are judgmental of other people in the gym. That's also annoying. It's not something that I see every day,
Yeah,
but I know.
yeah. So when you see somebody making fun of somebody else's form,
Yeah. Yeah, shit like that.
yeah,
It's like
that's pretty fucked up. That's pretty messed
let
up.
people do their
Maybe
thing.
they have an injury.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe they have an injury. Maybe that's why they can't do it. There are some exercises I do. I saw this girl squatting, and I am not the squat king. I have a bad knee. I am not the king of squats. But I, it was a situation where I wanted to tell her,
I know that. I know that feeling.
"Yo, please stop, because you're going to snap your legs off."
Yeah.
But the other side of that is this is one of my annoyances, and I get it. I get it. Again, I'm not a woman, female, however you want to categorize it. I don't know what to say anymore at this point, so I just kind of try to run it all down the list. I don't want to go over there and look like the guy, and as soon as I open my mouth, I'm either mansplaining or you think I'm trying to hit on you. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to keep you from going to physical therapy for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And oh my, it was so bad. Her form was
I
terrible.
know
Like
I
how we and what I was
that's
thinking.
tough.
Yeah,
That's tough
yeah,
cuz it's like like people don't love unsolicited advice, but I think
right.
there could be a way, and maybe people need to put out content about this of how to
Mhm.
kindly approach someone,
Mhm. Yeah,
because there are definitely safe and safer ways to do a squat. And there's definitely unsafe ways to do a squat. And if you can identify it,
she was the unsafe way. I mean, it was actually scary. Like I actually eventually went to the other side because I really wanted to say something, but again, usually before I would say something like, I don't want to come up presumptuous either. So it's a
Right.
very weird space. But I say, listen, I'm not trying to hit on you or anything like that because she was also one of the girls. She went there, and again, dress how you want. But she looked like she was kind of advertising for a music video. I mean, everything was out, and that's her business. But it was a little bit to me. It looked a little bit more than just workout clothes.
Mm.
There's a difference for me. Again, I don't mean to offend anybody. Be sexy in the gym, that's cool. But then I don't know. I don't know how to describe it without being too raunchy. But it just seemed like there was some advertisement going on. So I definitely didn't want to go and talk to her. Yeah, it's a very weird line to toe because I'm not trying to sound insensitive. She
Sounds
can
like a
dress
lot
how she
of
wants.
different factors or layers to
Right. She can
consider.
dress. She can dress how she. I'll just say I mentioned this girl before when she would do her deadlift. You can see the imprint of all of her parts.
Mm.
To me, that doesn't seem like comfortable workout clothes. Um, for me, that's just my opinion. Especially when you're directed at the entire gym and you could face the other way because it probably that's where the Smith machine was meant for you to be at. But whatever. Um, I didn't know what to say, and that was one of my annoyances. Is like I don't like the advertising. Even the guys, like there's a dude that I work out with. This man wears the tightest sweatpants you can possibly wear, and I'm not gay. It's fine if you are. I'm not, but you can't help but notice this man's walking around here with look like a sock in this shit. And I'm like, bro, you can wear bigger fucking sweatpants, bro. It's like unnecessary. So you're advertising some dick. You're not advertising working out. I don't know. That kind of stuff irks me. That's my irk.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, there I'm always an advocate for whatever makes you feel confident in the gym, also
Mm-hmm.
whatever makes you feel comfortable and safe,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which I guess is different for everyone. I'm like, I don't know if I
Sure.
would feel comfortable wearing certain things in the gym, but if you do, go
Yeah.
off. Good for you.
You know what's so hard with that though? Because it's like, sure, but then what if again it goes back to the whole philosophical kind of like round table
Hmm.
where it's like what if this is making somebody else
That's
uncomfortable?
true.
And then where do you draw that line? Like I'm made very uncomfortable if I'm sitting here on the bench and the dude comes next to me with his dick basically in my face. I'm
Mm,
not interested in that, brother. No, thank you. But maybe it makes him comfortable. I don't. Not saying he's thrusting it in my face,
yeah,
people. Because some people are slow.
that's
I
hard.
want to make that very clear. But you know, again, it's like gym etiquette. Maybe I don't know. Should there be a gym dress code? I don't think so personally. But I don't. I saw a girl come in the gym one time with a see-through top. Like, come
Oh,
on,
wow. Oh my gosh.
like, come on,
How brave.
man. Oh yeah, and the whole thing was on display, and she was getting the attention. And then I noticed, me and my boy was working out. Every time a dude would go and talk to her, she would get mad. I'm like, I don't know. I guess.
This is kind of the tangent of that. Oh my God. I just get philosophical all the
Oh.
time. But I can't help but think of this training that we did for our nonprofit, just like understanding
Mm-hmm.
how work styles are. There's like the
Mm-hmm.
golden rule, like treat others how you want to be treated. And then you need to meet it
Mm-hmm.
with the treat others how they want to be treated. Right.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of that, where if you're in an environment or a space where you never know who you could come across,
Mm-hmm.
knowing having like the context too will help kind of like I don't know. It's like I don't want to tell people what to
That's tough.
wear, but at the same
No,
time, I
I don't
think
either. Right.
I guess there are
I
some
mean,
unspoken things.
there's
Respect.
some levels of
I think there's just
appropriateness.
like
You
a
know.
out of
Yeah.
respect for
Like, I'm not
others
gonna.
too.
I'm not gonna go to work in poom poom shorts. Like, there's certain things that and I work healthcare. Imagine that walking in with poom poom scrubs with a stethoscope on. Like, it's not going to be, especially with my legs, it's not going to be very appealing. Some people might be a little off put by that, but I don't know. The gym is a weird thing, and even with the not re-racking, it doesn't bother me oddly enough. But what will bother me is so specific is if you put one of the weights here, then you put the other one on the other side. That drives me crazy. I don't know why.
Which what
So
wait, what
specific.
weights?
So let's say they got like
Yeah,
225s,
yeah,
two
yeah.
barbells, and they'll put the 125 on the bottom rack and then the other 25 on the other rack a little bit further down. And that, for whatever reason, I don't know, that's some OCD-ish stuff, but that irks my
It could
life.
be, I don't know, but that would probably bother me too. I do
Yeah,
like things
yeah.
pretty orderly. I mean, in the gym.
Well, you did mention before to me that you have ADHD,
Yeah, certainly.
and You said that, and then I saw on your page you said something that I love because we got a thing called Color People Time, and y'all got. I
Mm.
learned this from my girl who can't be on time to anything, and I'm calling her out.
Uh-huh.
Filipino time,
Uh-huh.
and you said something. I saw this was not one of your more recent ones. I don't think I did my little search yesterday while I was at work, and you said penal time is just an excuse or something. Do you remember that
Yeah,
post?
I remember. I saw it recently on uh oh man, I'm already forgetting her name. She's known as the holistic psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
That's her handle. Nicole Lepora, Dr. Nicole. I don't you know how I'm pronouncing it
Okay.
correctly, but she put a post out saying or blaming behaviors on your culture is a cultural cop out. Like, saying
Yes.
Filipino
Yes.
time or whatever
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
cultural cop out. And then I saw another post that kind of contextualized it a little bit more, where in certain cultures, it's just kind of accepted as we kind of know Filipinos are
Right.
late. I don't I don't know the exact post, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just interesting to have these different perspectives because there are definitely times where I'm like, I swear I gave myself an hour of buffer time and I am, for whatever reason, I'm still
Yeah.
late.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't learn what Filipino time was until I dated a Filipino. She came late to one thing. I told her, yo, it was in Brooklyn. I said, this is when we first started.
Yeah,
For me, I wanted to debunk the CP time because I was going to a wedding with a bunch of white people, and I'm like, they probably got their stereotypes about us. This is me projecting as well.
sure.
They probably got their stereotypes. I'm not going to be the late one. So I told her we got to leave here by 7. We had to leave this place by 7 to get there by 8:30 to give us time for parking, traffic, whatever. She gets here like 6:45 and starts putting her makeup on. I wanted to jump out the window from the second floor. Like it drove me crazy. Like, yo, what are you doing? You know.
Yeah,
But either way,
I know time blindness is a thing,
mhm,
especially for people with ADHD. And
mhm,
like this is something that people can research themselves, but like basically, well, from what I understand, I don't know if there's like the temperature of your skin or just like kind of your ability to perceive time is just kind of different
yeah,
in, I don't know, neurodivergent
that's
people.
interesting. That's
I
interesting. I
forgot
never
what
heard
the
that theory.
exact like kind of factors that they mention. But if you Google time
Mhm.
blindness and ADHD, this it'll come up. But I'm still
I'm
gonna
gonna look that up.
gonna try to learn more about it myself because it's something that I've really been trying to work on, but I just haven't found the right strategy yet.
You'll find it. It's interesting. My one of my best friends is like that too. We used to tell him the party was an hour
That's what my friends
was
do.
earlier than what it was. He was still late though. Like Mike. God, yo. Yo, so either way, I'm gonna leave it on that. Miss Monica, I don't want to keep you all day 'cause I'm sure you got some saving to do out in the world. I can tell you have that kind of light and that energy.
I
And I want
appreciate
to thank
that.
you for coming on the show. Anything you want to leave with my audience or how can we reach you? And also people for the record, just want to say, wear what you want to wear. I don't care. Just saying sometimes it can be distracting. I don't want nobody coming back after me for that. But yeah, so how can we reach you and what are your closing words?
Oh, my closing words. This is just something that I need to remind myself all the time is that there's always space. There's space for everyone, regardless
Yeah.
of what that is, in what context, but there's space for you. And you can reach me on most platforms, all platforms, at A$AP Money.
Is that no, it's not. So ASAP, not $, AP. That's what I put in the group.
I like the dollar sign. There, I also put the peso sign for the Philippines, ASAP. But yeah, just regular
All
letters.
right, no doubt. And I'll tag everything. And, anything that I can do to help your platform's way bigger than mine, but my little 4.5 people, if I can get 2.5 to you, that's 2.5 people. And, hopefully this won't be the last time that we collab on
Of
anything.
course, I want to support you in any way that I can. And so just never hesitate to reach out.
Much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Monica, A$AP Monny, cue the noise that I'm going to have to put into edit later. And we'll see y'all soon. Peace.